Hello. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome. Okay. Today we are going to talk about software. Test scenarios and test cases. Okay. What do you mean by? Do you have any idea about what do you mean by test scenario and what do you mean? At least you have an idea about what is test scenario and what is test case. Is there anyone who in this group who can say what idea you have? After that, I'll go ahead and explain what exactly it is. Anyone who will be able to just give up whatever you know, you just say, no problem. I'll be able to correct and say what is the right thing. Okay, since there's no answer from it, so let me go ahead and explain. See, in any software functional testing project, test scenarios play an important role. Test scenarios, first of all, understanding of the requirements is top priority. Unless you understand the requirement, you will never be able to write scenarios. The first precondition for writing test scenarios is that you need to understand the requirements clearly. 100% you need to understand the requirement. Do see the requirements. I think in previous workshops, your tutors would have already told about requirements elicitation. Maybe I can also go a little and say about requirement elicitation. Requirement is nothing but any software product in the world will have requirements. Only based on the requirements, testing can happen. The requirements can be in any form. Requirements can be either in the form of a functional specification document, software requirements document. It can be anything. It can be from Figma tool, where you just go through the tool and find out what are all the requirements of that particular software. Okay, a software requirement. Once you know what the requirement is, then the next step is in test planning is to write scenarios. Okay, writing scenarios is the next step. How do you write scenarios? Scenarios are nothing but a high level understanding of the requirements. You just translate into scenarios. There can be various scenarios that can be written. For example, right, everyone are familiar with you all know what is WhatsApp, right? So let me go with an example which you are familiar with. You all know what is WhatsApp. For example, if there is a feature newly introduced feature in WhatsApp, you need to test, right? The first thing that you need to understand is you write test scenarios for that feature. Or let me take an example of IRCTC. Everyone knows what is IRCTC, right? It's nothing but a platform where railway bookings are done. Right? Indian railway booking can be done. So in that, no, I don't know whether I'll be able to share this screen. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Share screen and explain you what how requirements are made. Let me share the screen. Able to see my screen? Just raise your hands if you're able to see my screen. If anyone is not able to see the screen, tell me. You're able to see my screen? See, this is a site which is used to book tickets, which everyone will be aware of. Okay. Let me go explain this with a simple example, scenarios and test cases. Scenarios are nothing but, see, railway site is divided into too many. There are too many. You can consider this login, register, agent login. See all these things, right? All these things can be considered as a separate module, a submodule, or something like that. Scenarios are nothing but, for example, login. This is a scenario. Complete. See, when I have to log into IRCTC website, right? I need to write my user ID, password, press whatever the, see, let me just go in. Login. See, now I have logged into IRCTC website. See, suppose you have been asked to write scenarios, right? The first scenario that you will write for this is, how do you log into this scenario? How do you log into a system? Okay. When I go to login, what I do, I type my user ID, I type my password, I type captcha, get into the login. Okay. The moment you are logged in, this page comes up. Okay. Now suppose someone is asking you to write scenario for, let me take an example. You see the screen, right? I'm going to explain you the simple with an example. How do you write scenarios for IRCTC? And another point, probably one scenario. It's taking some time. Book tickets. How do you book tickets? Okay, the steps that are required to book ticket are the test cases. What do you mean by precondition? Okay, precondition is nothing but when you want to when you want to write test scenarios, there is a template available. Okay, the template is nothing but you can write test scenarios in the following way. Let me just open up a template. Let me know what it is. Okay, before that, I'll explain you what. I don't know what's happening. Something is happening to me. It's not going through. No, see, let me just, I don't know, I'm not, some book tickets is not happening. Some problem is there. Okay, see, this is update profile. If someone is asking you to write scenarios for update profile, what do you do? You write passenger name, you type passenger name, enter the center, date of birth, mobile number, country, email, and residential address, and then click on submit. Okay. See, every individual line item like passenger name, entering a passenger name, selecting a gender, date of birth, filling up the IST mobile number, country, email, these are test cases. The entire update profile is a scenario. If someone is asking you to write test scenarios, for update profile, what you need to do is the precondition for this is you need to have registered to IRCTC website. Only when you register to IRCTC website, you will be able to update your profile. Okay, once you will be able to log in. Once you are logged in, you can join. You can go to my profile, make an update. You can just click on edit. First time when you log into IRCTC, you need to enter your passenger name, enter your gender, date of birth, ISD, mobile number, country, whatever your mail ID and all these things. These are individual line items which are nothing but test cases. Okay, validating passenger name. Okay, that can be one test case where when you write a test case, you will say the passenger name can have 20 character, 30 character, 40 character, something like that can be there. So validating gender. The gender can be, that is another test case where you say gender can be either male, female, or transgender. And date of birth. When you write a test case, a test scenario is nothing but it contains lot of test cases. My profile test scenarios will contain the following test cases. One is passenger name, validating the passenger name, validating the gender. How do you validate passenger name? Let me repeat it. Passenger name is a field which can accept up to 20 character, 30 character, whatever it is. As a tester, what you need to do is you need to write a test case to ensure that if passenger name is set as 20 characters or 30 characters, you should write a test case to check whether 30 characters are accepted by the passenger name field. Okay, that particular validation is called test case. One single test case the test case to validate passenger name, the test case to validate gender. If you want to validate test case gender, what do you do? Validate when you want to check whether gender is working or not. You should have an option to choose whether it is male, female, or transgender. And validating date of birth. This date of birth is another test case where you should be allowed to enter your date of birth. See, the validation, the test case that you write is your date of birth cannot be a date more than, current date cannot be your date of birth. Future date cannot be a date of birth. So when you write a test case for date of birth, you need to add a validation saying that date of birth field validation. When you write, you say so the date of birth field should allow date selection, and the date that can be allowed is any date that is prior to the current date. Future dates are not allowed. And mobile number, the next test case that you write is validating the mobile number. In mobile number, maximum the mobile number field cannot accept more than 10 numbers. When you write a test case, you need to validate whether mobile number field accepts numerical value. Mobile number field cannot have ABCD or anything. So when you write a test case, you are validating against mobile number accepting numerical value. And when you write a test case for country, it will country, you should be in a position to choose the country, or there will be a drop down where you choose the country. Okay, that, or you should be able to type the country name, and the characters can be maybe 20 characters, 30 characters. It's like similar to passenger name. The test case that you write for country is it should accept characters, and the space can be, the number of characters that it can accept can be anything that based on what the software requirements specification says. And email ID, when you write a test case for email, all you need to make sure is that an email should have this particular format. It can have any format, but it should have @something.com. It cannot have ARUL @stop, nothing like that. Okay, when you write a test case, what you need to write is the test case to validate email. Email format validation is what you write in the test case for email. Okay. The next is residential address. When you write a test case for residential address, it should accept combination of characters alphanumeric characters. You cannot say that my address will only have a number or my address will only have numerical. It should have a combination of letters, alphabets, hyphen mark, and any marks also. Office address and all these things are not mandatory. Do you understand what I have said? Are there any questions that you have? Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, just let me know, right? Any questions, you can put it on the chat also if you want. You are not understanding because this is the basis. Writing test scenarios, writing test cases is the basis for any testing that will happen. The testing can happen either based on, I'm just repeating it for the sake of everyone. Any testing has to be procedurally done writing scenarios. Only when you write scenarios, you will know what you are going to test. Scenarios are nothing but the validations that you do in order to certify a product or a module. Okay. Test scenarios is a superset. Test case is a subset. When you talk about scenarios, the scenarios will consist of too many validations. Like when I showed this example, right? In this, when I'm talking about profile updation, when you talk about update profile scenario, these are all the passenger name validation, gender validation, date of birth, ISD validation, country, email, preferred language, residential address, all office address. All these are fields available in that particular scenario, and all these fields constitute a test case. And every test case has to be executed in order to say that this particular scenario has passed or failed. A test case, see, when you execute a test case, the column 1 for test case will be serial number. Column 2 can be what is that scenario that you're testing. Column 3 can be precondition. What is the precondition? Column 4 can be what is the expected result. So in some cases, you can also, when you write a test case, you can also include an additional column called test steps, where you clearly say what are all the steps that are available in order to achieve this particular objective. Okay, let me just see if I have an example of test case so that you know what I'm talking about. I'm stopping this share. I'll share another. I'm going to share a screen. Just let me know once you're able to see the screen. Where we have written scenario about the product. You're able to see an Excel. Are people able to see this? Are you able to see an Excel? Is there anyone who's not able to see the Excel?
I'm able to see your Excel.
Yeah, you're able to see my Excel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. See, this is nothing but this is an example of a product which we tested a few years back. To go through the first step in any software, the first part that you need to do when you start planning for tests is writing test scenarios. Okay, these are all the test scenarios that is created for one of the product that we have tested. Okay, this is a general format of test cases. Okay, the first column will talk about the scenario. The second column is nothing but the test case ID. The third column is a test objective. In the fourth column, if there is any sample data that can be provided, then column is the expected behavior. Okay. These are all, if you see the difference between scenarios and test cases, this is account creation scenario. So whatever that is in blue line, I'll quickly go through one by one, but just go through it. Scenario, this every blue line is a scenario. Okay, every other line rows which are within that are called test cases. This particular blue line talks about account creation scenario. Account creation. First of all, what it is? These are all the different test cases. What is that you do? What is that you are testing here? What is my objective? Create an account, send an mail verification, login homepage, and verifying an email. Expiry of email verification link. This is a negative test case. Create account again before verifying the email link. Password with simple password. Create duplicate account. Okay, this is the test objective, and this is the result. And if there is any test data that need to be given, that can be given here. And everyone knows this product. You may not be aware, but everyone knows about the login scenario. Right? Whether it is any product will have a login scenarios. The first test case is login with unverified account, and these are all the test cases. Forget password, reset password. If the product supports creation through Facebook, that can also be there. Login with an account which is already deactivated from Facebook. These are all negative test cases. Login with account created with Google. These are all the test cases which are there as a part of login scenario. Okay. When you look into these things, right? This is a product which was tested 6 years back. One of the online medicine ordering product. So you may not be aware of it, but just giving the purpose of this call is to make you understand between what is a test scenario, what is a test case. So everything in blue line is test scenario. Everything that is there in the rows below the blue line is a test case. Okay, a test case can have both positive as well as negative test cases. A good tester is the one who is able to create test cases, also taking into account negative test cases as well. You cannot see a test case with just positive test case alone is not sufficient. When you do a testing in software testing, the fundamental thing that you need to also understand, right? Our objective is to find defect. The more the number of defects that we find, the more good is there for the testing team. Why are we creating scenarios? The purpose of creating scenarios is to validate that we have done the testing as a proof of we have done the testing and all these test cases are executed and it is passing or failing. See, any test case that fails will be created as a defect. Okay. Any tester in the world will be appreciated only when he or she brings in defects to the table. Our main purpose is to bring defect. How do you bring defect? You bring defect, understanding the product, writing test scenarios, writing test cases. This is one sample available for me so that I can show it to you. This is a login scenario. And if you go to my account scenario, there are a lot of things. Add to cart. It's like a Flipkart, right? You can, like when you're ordering medicines, right? This is the way when you add to cart, what happens? Okay. Without prescribing, These are all the various test cases. Those are derived understanding the functional specification document. Add to cart. Add to cart itself has, when you add a cart, you should be able to remove from the cart. That is another test case. When you remove from the cart, increasing item quantity, you can also, for example, every Flipkart or any Amazon, when you order something, right, there should be a provision to increase the number of, for example, you're ordering Himalaya shampoo. You should be able to, if you're ordered 5 in the cart itself, you can go ahead and increase it to 6. This particular column talks about the test data. If you have a test data, you can add it here and enter your PIN code. These are all, see, adding your cart, then removing cart, increasing the quantity in the cart, decreasing the quantity and add to the cart. What happens once you added something into the cart? Now you go to buy now option. I have written scenarios in such a way that the entire product is from account creation till cancel order, it is there. From account creation, for example, you log into this product, you create an account, you will be able to order medicines when you create an account into this product. And these are all the test scenarios for test cases, account creation scenarios. This is account creation scenario. This is login scenario. This is my account scenario. This is I know scenario. This is list. This is filter sort. These are all the functionalities available within that product. And again, the another main purpose of writing scenarios is that we, as a software testing company, we don't just like that do ad hoc testing and release a product to the customer. We ensure that when we do a testing, we have all the scenarios written, all the test cases written, verified, peer reviewed, corrected, and then send it to a client. Every client in the world will ask for scenarios. There is no client who will say that, okay, do the testing, that's all. In any project that you work for, the prime requirement in any project is that you start writing scenarios. You start writing test cases. When you finish testing, show that to the client, saying that, okay, this is a scenario, this is a test case I executed, this is passed, this is failed. Don't say that account creation failed, login failed, like that. When you say some failure, attach it along with the test scenarios and then fail it. Is there any, I've been running for the last 30-35 minutes. Is there anything that you would like me to answer? Are you clear in what I have told? Saleh, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm able to hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any area that you think that I have missed or anything? Yeah, last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, please go ahead and ask your questions. Whatever questions you ask, only then I'll be able to know whether you understood. So please ask questions if you have anything. It can be as vague as possible also, no problem at all. But please ask. I'll pause for a minute and then I'll once again completely summarize what we have told. Since there are no questions, let me just go ahead and summarize what I told today in the last 30-35 minutes. Point number 1, software testing. The primary purpose of software testing is to ensure that the client gets a defect-free product. In order for the client to get a defect-free product, the the people who are involved in making sure that the client gets defect-free product is a tester or a test lead. Okay, the purpose of testing is to find bugs. Number 3, first step in writing test scenarios is understanding the requirement. Requirement can be understood either going to the software requirement specification document or going through functional specification document. That will be the basis for requirement understanding. Once you understood the requirement, the next step is translating the requirements into test scenarios and test cases. The example that I showed right now is nothing but an online platform where ordering of medicines are possible. Okay, this is nothing but a Ziggy, which a client which we have worked 6 or 7 years back. Okay, the scenarios shown to you are the scenarios those were used to validate the functionality. Functional testing is nothing but every single line item in the software that is developed will be validated. Validation is done through test scenarios, test cases. Test scenarios is high level. Test cases individual level. Okay, if you see in the screen, I'm repeating it. Add to cart is one scenario. There are adding to cart without prescription, removing cart, increasing quantity, decreasing quantity. All these are individual test cases. So the purpose of writing scenarios, let me repeat it, is to ensure that we are testing against the requirement and ensuring that all the requirements are translated into test cases, and these test cases can either be passed or failed. See, normally when test execution is done, right, after this expected behavior column, you will have another column called actual result. Okay, I'm just taking it for example, actual result. You're able to see the screen, right? You're able to see the screen?
Yeah, Arul, I'm able to see your screen.
Okay. In the actual result, what generally a tester has to do is he has to mention whether this particular test case, this is a test case. The row that I'm showing is a test case. Whether this test case passed or not. If expected behavior is the same as if the software behaves as per expected behavior, you say it's passed. If the expected behavior is different, then you say why you mention what the actual problem is and then make it as failed. Status can be passed, failed, not executed. When you pass, there is no need for attaching any defect. When you fail, obviously you need to attach a defect ID to it. The purpose of writing test scenarios is to ensure that the complete software is tested according to the specifications provided and documented, test scenarios documented, test cases documented, failures documented. Once failures are there, you need to see there are multiple tools available in the market. In our office, we have something called QA Monitor, which is nothing but a bug tracking and planning tool where the failures are captured and every defect is captured against that. Okay. The best tester is the person who has bring in more defects to the table. Okay, the tester and quick. The person who is able to understand scenarios, test it faster, bring in more defects is a tester whom the entire world will be interested in having. Okay. With this, I hand over the call to Sai. Should you like to go ahead or?
Yeah, Arul, I can go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, how do I can make you a host, right?
No, I have already joined. I have
Okay.
a link, so I'm also part of co-host. I think I'm also.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead. If there's anything that is needed, just go ahead and continue.
Sure,
And,
I will take care. I will take care. Yeah.
and excellent. Try. I mean, it's an excellent opportunity for you to be a part of this group. Please learn, understand, make testing as your career. You will flourish in your life. Thank you.
Thanks, Arun.